Alright, what is going on, everybody? Well, as you can see, we're inside today. But we're not going to stay here. What I wanted to do was film a little bit of an intro before we got into today's episode. Because I know I was all gung-ho after I shot my buck that I still have a doe tag to fill. But that was before we butchered him. And now that he's butchered, as you can see, freezer's full. So I really don't have a need, at least an immediate need, to go fill my doe tag. And I'm not going to go out and just kill an animal for content. As much as it would probably help the channel grow, I don't know, I feel like it's more respectful to just kind of eat my doe tag for now. With that said, I'm going to keep an eye on the progress that I'm making. And if I can get a lot of this meat taken care of before, the end of rifle or even late muzzleloader season, then I'll be back out for a doe. But if not, I might be done with whitetail for this season. So, with that said, what are we going to do today for content? Well, I'm doing a little bit of squirrel hunting. At the very least, maybe some small game. So I kind of figured I would do a little bit of a test because, as you saw, I was having some trouble keeping my batteries alive. Now, my GoPro I'm alright with. I can just stick that in my pocket. But especially for rifle season, if we ever do need it for rifle season, I'm going to be testing out a little idea that I had in order to keep my scope camera warm. So here's my prototype. Shout out to my buck for making a little bit of a cameo in here. But what I have here is just one of my wife's socks that I can throw around my scope cam here. Maybe throw a little hand warmer in there. And yeah, I think that should be tight enough that it'll hold on to my scope camera mount. Unfortunately, I don't have any hand warmer packs, so it's kind of moot right now to test it, but I can at least take this out and make sure it's not slingshotting itself out around the woods while I'm trying to carry the gun. So, I think with that said, it's about 40 degrees right now, little to no wind. It's supposed to get up into 60, so at the very least up around there. So it should be a pretty good day for squirrels, but that remains to be seen. So I think with all of that said, let's get up to the game lands, see if we can't find us a couple squirrels. And also, since I'm here and I can't resist talking about it, look at this dude. European mount came out pretty clean. I didn't use any whitener on the skull. This is just the natural color of the bone. I did miss a few spots that I could have maybe cleaned up a little bit more, but quite honestly, like, that's a pretty clean skull. So he's over here in the man cave just kind of airing out at the moment. I noticed that when you do European mounts with a pressure washer, they sometimes have a little bit of a smell that kind of lingers on them for a couple days. But usually if you just let them air out for a week or so, they'll be ready to go in the main house. So, yeah, I'm really proud of this buck and the way his European mount turned out. I was debating for a while getting a shoulder mount just because he was my first, but I think the European mount does him plenty of justice. What doesn't do him justice is a tape measure and a score sheet. But I don't really care about all that. I'm not out for score, especially not on my first deer. I think he wound up, let me check that actually, just for the heck of it. And I may or may not even put this into the episode, but just for the heck of it, I just kind of followed the Boone and Crockett scorecard here. I know he wasn't going to make Boone and Crockett or anything, but you can see here's his measurements for anyone that cares. Here'd be his gross score, and then there's with deductions total score. Which honestly is surprising to me because looking at him, I figured for sure he was going to be at least 100. But he wound up grossing, what was that, 93 7/8. But that's also assuming all my math is correct and whatnot, and it never was my strong point. But for those of you that are interested in score, sub 100-inch deer, but quite honestly, he's still, just to look at him, for being a sub 100-inch deer, I mean, he's still impressive, especially for the area. You know what they say, if your head don't fit in the spread, you shouldn't be dead. So just for the sake of argument, my head fits with plenty of space. You can almost get my shoulders in there. So, the score sheet does not take away any of the enjoyment that I have for this buck, or any of the pride that I have. I couldn't be happier with him. He was absolutely perfect for my first buck. He was everything I was looking for. And I mean, either way, a very respectable whitetail. So, now that all that's out of the way, let's go get some squirrels. Well, one of my big concerns for today was that I was going to be blowing out somebody's deer hunting spot with archery still in, just for this week. But on my walk in, I was passed by two UTVs and a bobcat. So yeah, apparently there's a crew down here working on the gas line on these lands. So at least I don't have to be the one worried about putting too much pressure in. So I'm gonna work a little ways past their construction zone. I don't think it should have too much impact on the squirrels, especially a little bit further down in. So at least I have that cleared up. Anyway, we're still cruising in here. Obviously I haven't seen any action yet, other than human activity. But I'm gonna head over to my turkey hunting spot and get set up for a little bit. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of sitting. So, with that said, I'm gonna continue my hike along here. Let's see what we can get into. Alright, well, we're in here, we're set up. We still have our camera sleeve on. Not terribly worried about the battery dying today because the temperature's pretty toasty. It says it's about 50 degrees, but it feels warmer than that, especially after walking in with all my layers on. But this is an area where I was scouting earlier in archery season. I had the bow with me, so naturally I saw 50,000 squirrels. And now today I have the 22, so I'll probably see 0. But I'm gonna keep my ears open, keep my eyes open. We're in a stand of pretty thick pine cover. So I figure this is the area where they'll probably have the most cover and feed. We're not too far off the power line. Like I said, I was in here turkey hunting last spring. It was pretty good for squirrels then too. So before I disturb this area too much by yapping, I'm gonna settle in and get quiet and start listening for leaves. Catch you if anything rolls by. Where'd he go? he's just screwing with me. Popping in and out of trees. He climbed up one at like 15 yards, turned around, came back down, hopped over to another branch. He just never quit moving long enough for me to get a shot. Now I just keep seeing his tail flick around between branches. I can hear him rustling around. He never stays in an open patch long enough for me to get a shot. Alright, well, it has been a while since that squirrel come through. My butt's starting to fall asleep. I haven't seen or heard anything moving, except a flock of blue jays coming through, knocking bark off the trees, freaking me out, making me think there's something running behind me. So, I think with that, I'm going to head back up to this power line where I can move a little bit quieter, scoot my way along, and just keep my eye down into this bottom. See if I can catch anything moving, either through the trees or hear them in the leaves. So with that, I'm gonna hop up, do a little bit of relocating, and I'll see if I see anything. I bumped down maybe 100 yards. And I caught one running in the tree that I think I got on film. And busted another one in the leaves. So if that don't deserve a little setup, I don't know what does. Alright. Well, I bumped down a little bit. That red squirrel's up in the trees somewhere off to my left. And the gray squirrel that was in the trees earlier when I first got in here went to my right. I might set up in between here for a bit and just keep an eye on the trees. The only thing that could really screw me in this spot is this brush pile right here in front of me. Kind of blocks my view of the little mini bench. But if anything comes through the trees here, we might have an opportunity at it. I got my face mask up just to try and take some of the shine off my face so I don't stick out quite as bad. I know I'm wearing orange, but I don't know if squirrels can see orange. I'm gonna set up in here for a little while. We got reds, we got grays. Who knows what else is coming by. Red squirrel. You hear him down there freaking out? Whiffed that one. Couldn't tell. Looked like he might have been hit, but He scurried up the tree like nothing was wrong, so I'm gonna keep an ear out, see if he drops out of a tree, but I think that one's getting chalked up to a miss. Then we had another red pop out right here in front of us. Now I'm getting jumpy at every branch that moves. Okay, well, that shot's bothering me, so I'm gonna bump down where he was at. I'm gonna check for any signs of a hit. Because that could have been other squirrels that were climbing trees. And I felt really good about that shot. So I'm gonna bump down here a little bit. I've had a couple little reds bouncing around. And of course, none of them gave me shots either. They're just so quick, man. So I'm gonna bump down to where I shot at that squirrel. Keep an eye on the trees. Trying not to fall over and die. See if I can't find any signs of a hit. I think he would have been right down in here. And he jumped up on this log. I'm not seeing any blood or hair. Actually, you know what? Right there's a bullet impact. So, yeah, I think that was a clean miss. Okay. It's not good, but it's better than an injured squirrel running around. Alright, well, I was set up over here at the base of this tree, looking down the hill for 20 minutes. And nothing moved. So, bumped over here, looking back up towards where I was sitting. And I just set up, so I haven't seen anything move yet. Figured I'd at least see some of those reds that were bouncing around up there. Kind of work their way over, but nothing yet. I got that one. Well, I do believe I just got one. I hit him. He flipped and dropped out of the tree, so trying to work our way up here, see if we can't find him. Well, we got blood on a leaf. So he's definitely hit and around here. Just not seeing him. I'm gonna keep looking. Okay, well, it's been about a half hour of walking in circles around this tree, and I am absolutely befuddled. I didn't find any other signs of blood. I didn't find the squirrel. What I did find was a bunch of these. little rock holes. So either, since the blood is at the base of this tree, I didn't see him run out in any other direction when I was on my way up here. So either he climbed up this tree and there's no sign of blood anywhere on it. Either he got up that tree and away without leaving any other blood, or he stayed on the ground and got into one of those holes. Now, the problem with those holes is that this area is well known to be a rattlesnake hunting area. While I'm not worried about them being out and about right now, I'm not sticking my hand in a potential rattlesnake hole after a squirrel. Sorry, that's just not worth it. So, I think I'm calling it a loss on that one. That freaking sucks, man. I can't believe that. Looked like a good hit. All I seen was his head and shoulders. So if I hit him solid, he should be laying here dead. But maybe I just grazed him. I don't know. Like I said, there's no other blood on this tree, and I've been doing circles for half an hour now, getting bigger and bigger. No squirrel, no blood, no signs of anything. Either way, it's 20 till 2. So we got plenty of daylight left to hunt. I'm still hearing stuff running. It's just getting fewer and farther between. Well, folks, it has been a minute. We had that red squirrel charge us up through the trees, and it worked its way off. And a minute or two later, there's another squirrel that I think was a gray, hopped up onto a tree, maybe 30 yards in front of me. But I don't know if that one's going to show up on camera, because I was facing directly into the sun, and I couldn't even see it through the scope, so I can't imagine the camera got any good footage of it. But no squirrel action since then. A bunch of blue jays flying around. There they are. So I think what I'm going to start doing here, it's about 3:30. So got about an hour and a half of light left. I think I'm just going to kind of hunt my way back to the truck. If I find a decent area where there's a lot of activity, maybe I'll set up for 20 minutes or so and see what comes out of it. Alright, well. As you can see, we have left the power line. And at this point, I've kind of given up on the squirrels. Not gonna lie. Seems like they quit running around 3:30. Because now I've walked probably a mile. I haven't seen a squirrel since. So now I'm just kind of rumbling through the brush here. Keeping my eyes and ears open. Looking to see if I can maybe catch a grouse off guard. It's gonna be difficult because it's stupid loud leaves, but certainly thick enough in here for them. Wow. So, I'm gonna get you back on my head. If I jump a deer, I'll kick you back on. And if I see any small game species, I'll kick the scope cam on. If nothing happens, I'll see you back at the truck. Well, unfortunately, I missed it on camera. But I did just jump 2 deer down in this bottom. They were milling around right off this edge here. Shot right down along the edge. And if I was a betting man, that was probably a buck with a doe that he had locked down. But neither one of them blew. They just took off with their tails in the air. So they'll be back. They got another 2 weeks before people are after them with guns, so it's breeding in now, buddy. Time's running out. I can hear something walking around in front of me. I thought I saw movement down in here. We got another deer, folks. There's something above me, too. I can hear one running up over this ridge. There's something walking around down in here. I haven't gotten good visual on it yet. Oh, right there. I'll try and get it on scope cam. Oh, it's down there somewhere. I just can't see it. Hello, madam. Well, I'll see how long she sticks around, but doing my outro with a deer. Yeah, it's kind of rough. No squirrel. Well, we did see a bunch of squirrels. Got a couple shots off. None of them managed to connect. She doesn't give a shit that I'm here. Sweet. See, this is what happens when you bring a .22 out to the woods instead of the bow or a rifle. This is public land. Let me make sure you can see her. She doesn't care that I'm here. Yeah, you. Yeah. So anyway, I was gonna be hanging out with my dear buddy here. See, she knows my freezer's full. That's probably what it is. She knows the freezer's full. But either way, it was a pretty good day. I mean, we got into a bunch of squirrels. A couple shots off. Connected with one. Never found it. Didn't come across any grouse or anything in our travels. But did see a few deer. So yeah, I think with that, I'm gonna leave her to her meal. She's enjoying this nice fresh brush hog gas line. So she's got plenty of browsing to do. So yeah, I'm gonna go home, look for a little food myself, and leave her be. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you click the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'll see you in the next one.